Okay, so think about when you're out and about, especially in a city. What do you notice? I mean, yeah, cars, buses, sure. But there's this other layer of movement, right? Scooters. They seem to be absolutely everywhere now, delivering food, getting people to work.
Hmm.
They've kind of woven themselves into how cities work. Today, we're going to really dig into something that makes all that possible, but you probably never, ever think about it. The global scooter tire market. Yeah, scooter tires. And honestly, the size of this market, how fast it's growing, it's actually pretty startling.
It really is. And that's our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? To unpack what's actually driving this. We want to look at the growth across the globe, region by region, and really highlight why this seemingly small component, the scooter tire, is way more important for like urban mobility than you might first guess. It's
Yeah.
fundamental.
Okay, let's hit listeners with the big number right away. When you think billion-dollar markets, scooter tires probably don't spring to mind. But get this, $1.90 billion. That was the market value back in 2021. And the projection, it's set to more than double, hitting $4.05 billion by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR of 6.5%. Pretty strong, steady growth. Did you even realize it was that big?
hmm And it's not just random growth, right? If you connect the dots, it links directly to these huge global shifts that, you're probably already seeing. Think about how cities keep growing, more and more people moving into urban areas. That's one thing. Then there's the boom in shared mobility, all those rental scooters everywhere. And of course, the big push globally for greener transport. Electric scooters are a huge part of that. All these trends kind of converge. And the tire, it's right there at the contact point. It has to handle it all.
Right, so it's not just a fad, it's tied into these really deep changes in how we live and move.
hmm
You mentioned these bigger trends, but what are the specific things really pushing the tire market forward so hard?
Right.
Is it just more people buying scooters for fun, or is there something else, maybe more commercial?
That's a really important point. Personal scooters, yeah, they're part of it. But a massive driver, it's the demand from last mile delivery services. Think about food delivery, package couriers. These aren't casual riders. They are absolutely hammering these scooters day in, day out. Imagine like a delivery rider covering maybe 50, 100 miles a day in city traffic, hitting potholes, rain or shine. For them, that tire isn't just rubber, it's vital. It needs to be incredibly durable, high performance. That kind of heavy use really fuels demand for better, tougher tires. It pushes innovation much harder than just, weekend cruising.
That makes sense. And those overall market numbers really paint that picture of just relentless growth from $1.9 billion in 21,
Yeah.
expected to jump to $2.45 billion by 2025 alone. And then, like we said, soaring up to $4.05 billion by 2033. That's not just a blip. It's over a decade of really strong, consistent expansion.
Okay, let's zoom in a bit. Where is this growth really taking off? Because the regional picture sounds fascinating. Asia Pacific, you're saying that's the powerhouse here.
Oh, absolutely. It's the largest market and the fastest growing, just dominant. We're talking $632.3 million back in 2021. Okay. Projected to explode to $1.39 billion by 2033. That's nearly triple. And the growth rate there is 6.8% CAGR. That's faster than the global average.
And within Asia Pacific, China's obviously huge, right? Expected to hit $576 million. But you mentioned India showing even faster acceleration.
Exactly. India's growth is really something else, a 7% CAGR, heading towards $284.5 million. It's not just the size, it's the sheer density. The way scooters are just fundamental for daily life, for business, for navigating packed cities.
Cars often just aren't practical, and that dynamic plays out across the region Japan, growing to $150.6 million. South Korea, Taiwan, Southeast Asia, all seeing huge expansion for commuting and delivery. Yeah, the key thing about Asia isn't just the volume, it's the necessity. Scooters aren't just a nice to have there. For millions, they're absolutely essential for, getting around, making a living. So the demands on the tires are intense. Think about rough roads, heavy loads, constant use. This forces manufacturers to focus intensely on durability, reliability under really tough conditions. It's a different kind of pressure than maybe in other markets. So Asia is massive, driven by this core need. But it's not only an Asian story. These global trends are playing out everywhere, even if the flavor is a bit different. Let's look at North America. Revenues there are climbing steadily, too, from about $548.5 million in 2021 to $1.14 billion projected by 2033. That's a solid 6.3% CAGR. The U.S. is the biggest chunk, obviously, heading towards over $900 million. Canada is looking at around $138 million. And here's a little surprise. Mexico is actually growing really fast, 7.2% CAGR. It's set to nearly double to almost $100 million. And Europe, Very similar story in terms of growth, expanding from around $512 million in 2021 to over $1.05 billion by 2033. That's a 6.2% CAGR. Germany's leading, projected at $242.4 million. Then you've got the UK around $156 million, France $112 million, Italy just over $100 million. And interestingly, the rest of Europe categories many of the emerging EU markets that's growing really dynamically too, almost tripling to $170 million. It shows how widespread this is becoming.
Okay, let's unpack this. So you have North America and Europe, traditionally very car-centric cultures. Yeah. What's really driving this pretty impressive scooter tire growth there? You can't just be people buying them for weekend rides, surely.
No, you're right. That's a key difference. While personal ownership is growing, a really significant driver in these regions is the shift. Specifically, the shift towards electric scooters, and crucially, the massive growth of shared mobility platforms. Think about those companies running huge fleets of rental scooters in cities like London, Paris, New York.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
For those fleet operators, tire durability and performance are absolutely critical business metrics. If a tire lasts longer or performs better in the wet, that directly impacts their bottom line, their operational costs, customer safety.
Right, across thousands of scooters.
Exactly. So the demand there is less about casual use and more about needing a really high-performance, cost-effective asset for intensive commercial use. That drives a different kind of R&D focus.
That makes total sense. The economics for fleet operators are huge. So moving away from these, let's call them established markets, where else are we seeing surprising growth? Are there regions accelerating even faster?
Oh, definitely. Let's look at the Middle East. That region is really taking off. It's actually one of the fastest growing globally, from about $82 million in 2021,
Wow.
projected to hit over $200 million, $202.7 million by 2033. That's a huge CAGR, 7.6%. Key players are Saudi Arabia, Turkey, the UAE, but Egypt and Qatar are showing really strong growth too, and the drivers. Big infrastructure projects help, sure, but it's also just rising demand for affordable, practical two-wheeler transport in cities that are expanding fast. And then you have Africa. It's starting from a smaller base, but it's gaining traction quickly, growing from about $53 million in 2021 to $115.5 million by 2033. Still a solid 6.2% CAGR. South Africa is the main market there, around $48 million projected, then Nigeria at over $21 million. What's really interesting about both the Middle East and Africa is the untapped potential. Scooters offer incredibly practical, cost-effective ways to get around, especially where public transport might be limited or traffic is bad.
Basic mobility.
Exactly. And as infrastructure improves, you're likely to see adoption just skyrocket. The tires are fundamental to making that affordable mobility possible.
And just to complete the world tour, South America.
Yeah.
Also part of this global picture.
Yes, contributing steadily. Revenues there are expected to grow from about $76 million in 2021 up to nearly $144 million by 2033. Brazil's the key market, projected around $61 million, then Argentina and Colombia contributing significantly too. Again, it's that theme of practicality, affordability, and growing urban environments. So if we pull all these threads together, all these different regional stories, from the dense cities in Asia where scooters are a necessity, to North America and Europe shifting to electric and shared models, to the emerging potential in the Middle East and Africa, it really tells a powerful story about the future of how we move in cities. It underlines those core drivers again. Urbanization, the simple efficiency of two-wheelers, shared mobility taking hold, and that constant search for more sustainable ways to commute. Scooters, and by extension their tires, are becoming this kind of quiet, essential solution to really big urban challenges.
Which brings us back to the tire itself. So what does all this mean for that piece of rubber? It means it's not just a commodity anymore, is it?
Not at all.
These tires are basically critical enablers. They enable modern, greener city transport. They enable that whole last-mile delivery economy, their quality, their durability. It directly impacts how efficiently, how safely, how sustainably millions of people and packages move around every single day.
Absolutely. They're like the unsung heroes of keeping cities moving.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the main points from our deep dive. The global scooter tire market. It's big and it's growing steadily and strongly, driven by major global trends. Cities getting bigger, shared mobility booming, the electric shift. Asia-Pacific is the giant, leading in size and speed, driven by necessity. North America and Europe. Strong, steady growth, increasingly about electric fleets. And then you got these really exciting, fast-emerging opportunities in the Middle East and Africa, where scooters offer vital, affordable mobility.
And this all leads to a really interesting question to think about, doesn't it? As cities keep evolving, keep pushing for sustainability, how might actual innovations in the tires themselves shape the future? Think about maybe new materials for incredible durability, or smart tires sending back data, or even designs optimized for specific city conditions. Could tire tech actually influence how fast and how effectively our cities transform? It's more than just a component, it could be a platform for what comes
That's
next.
a great point. So next time you're out and you see a scooter whizzing past, maybe delivering your dinner, maybe taking someone home, just pause for a second. Think about those tires. Small part, maybe, but playing a massive role in the bigger picture of how our cities work and how we all get around. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.